Hi, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball Recap for Tuesday, March the 3rd. This is part of my coverage of all 33 college baseball teams in the state that you can find at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. I have links to scores, schedules, box scores. Usually you can find a place for live statistics or live audio or video. Just try to be a service to help college baseball fans in the state follow their favorite teams. There were 17 games involving state teams played on Tuesday, and in one of the most prominent ones over at Ford Field in Greenville, 3 Winthrop pitchers held Michigan State scoreless over the final 8 innings, allowing just 1 hit in that span, and the Eagles rallied to beat Michigan State by a score of 5-2, improving their record to 10-2 and stretching their winning streak to 8 games. Josh Skoronsky hit a 2-run homer in the 6th to tie the game, and Alan Benhart hit a sacrifice fly in the 8th inning to put the Eagles ahead, and they withstood a couple of threats from the Spartans over the remainder of the game to get that win. With that loss, Michigan State fell to 3-7. Down in Columbia, a pair of USC Upstate errors in the 6th inning helped South Carolina score 5 unearned runs, and the Gamecocks broke a tie and went on to win over the Spartans by a score of 12-3. USC got 3 runs in the first inning on 5 hits, and by getting 5 hits in that 1 inning, that was more than they got in any of the 3 games of the Clemson series over the weekend. They were held to 4 hits in each one of those games. But an error helped USC Upstate tie the score at 3-3, and it was deadlocked until that fateful 6th inning. Josh Evans had a pair of home runs and 4 hits for the Gamecocks, who played with that leadoff hitter Will Craddock, who was out with an injury. USC had 16 hits. Logan Sutter also had a home run for Carolina, who improved to 8-5. Upstate fell to 7-7. USC pitchers struck out 14. Up in Raleigh, Chris McHugh's second home run of the game, a 2-run shot in the 8th, lifted the Wolfpack of NC State to a 6-4 win over Coastal Carolina in a game up there. The Chanticleers got a run in the first inning on a home run by Blagan Pato, but McHugh homered in the bottom of the inning to tie it up. Coastal pushed across a run in the 5th, but the the Wolfpack scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to go up 4-2. Coastal did not give up, though. They scored in the 8th inning. They got a homer by Dean Mijos, and then an RBI single by Walker Mitchell to tie the score. That set the stage for McHugh's deciding second home run of the game. The Chanticleers fell to 75 on the season. NC State improved to 11-1. Over at Mooneyham Field in Spartanburg, Matt Smith's home run in the bottom of the 7th gave Spartanburg Methodist a walk-off 5-4 win over Milligan in the first game of a doubleheader, but the Buffaloes came back to win Game 2 by a score of 11-6. After the Tuesday action, Spartanburg Methodist is 7-10. Milligan is 15-4. Blake Martin had 5 hits in the doubleheader for the Pioneers. In Mount Pleasant, Will Tippett homered and drove in 3 runs, and College of Charleston handed Presbyterian its 11th straight loss by a score of 6-3. The Cougars improved to 5-7, while PC is now 2-11 after winning a doubleheader to start the season. They've been winless ever since. CFC pitchers struck out 10 in that game. Up in Pembroke, North Carolina, Johan Rodriguez had a 2-run triple as part of a 4-run 8th, and USC Upstate, USC Aiken. Not having a good day, you see that? USC Aiken beat UNC Pembroke by a score of 13-11. The win improved the Pacers' record to 15-4. Pembroke fell to 13-3. The Pacers had 15 hits in that game. In Hartsville, Marion Huffstickler struck out 10 and didn't allow an earned run in 5 innings, and Francis Marion coasted past Coker by a score of 13-3. 5 FMU hitters had 2 hits apiece in the game. In Mars Hill, Matthew McCaffrey had a 2-run triple in the 10th inning to break a tie score. Southern Wesleyan held on to beat Mars Hill by a score of 6-3. That was a 6th win for Southern Wesleyan against 13 losses. Warriors starter Lucas Aravantidis, I hope that's correct, took a shutout into the bottom of the 9th, but the Lions scored a run off of him and a couple off relievers to force extra innings, but McCaffrey paid off and got that big hit. In Lancaster, USC Lancaster scored 5 runs in the 4th inning to take charge and beat Rockingham by a score of 8-5. The Lancers moved back above 500 with a 10-9 record. Up in Asheville at Greenwood Field, UNC Asheville escaped a bases-loaded situation in the 9th inning and handed Wofford an 8-7 loss. It was the second straight loss for the Terriers. Asheville, which is now 6-7, had an 8-5 lead going into the 9th. The Terriers got the bases loaded. Andrew Manley hit a 2-run single to pull Wofford within 1 and put runners on the corners. The Asheville pitcher walked the next batter on 4 pitches to load the bases. He threw 2 pitches to Harrison Campy, both of them for balls. And Asheville brought in reliever T.J. Brooks. T.J. Brooks was pitching. Then Ryland Howell came in and threw 3 straight strikes to end the game and give UNC Asheville the win. The Bulldogs are 6-7. Wofford fell to 8-4. In Greenwood, Wingate built a 4-run lead early and held off Lander by a score of 5-3. The Bulldogs of Wingate are 15-4. Lander fell to 12-7. Over at Memorial Stadium in Anderson, Brendan Clark allowed only 1 run over 6 innings, and Anderson beat Emmanuel by a score of 9-2. They jumped to a big early lead and held on. Miles Denton and Braden Harrison homered for the Trojans, who are now 14-5, and Ben Bullard doubled and tripled. Emmanuel fell to 7-12. At Due West, Georgia College extended its winning streak to 4, and Bobcats pitchers struck out 13 in a win over Erskine by a score of 5-2. Erskine fell to 7-14. Georgia College improved to 6-12. Mary McManus had 2 hits, a walk, and scored a run for the Flying Fleet. Down in the Beaufort area, Bridgeport wiped out a 2-run deficit with a 6-run 5th inning and went on to beat USC Beaufort by a score of 10-8. Raider McIntyre was 2 for 4 with a walk, a stolen base scored, and an RBI for the Sand Sharks, who fell to 4-13. Bridgeport evened his record at 4-4. And in the final game of the day, Nathan Chumley had a grand slam and drove in 8 runs, and Gordon State beat Denmark Tech by a score of 20-0. Gordon State is now 14-10. And Denmark Tech is 1-8. Gordon State scored 17 runs in the 5th inning. And I apologize, there was one more game. Toccoa Falls beat Claflin by a score of 8-5. Toccoa Falls is now 10-7-1. Claflin fell to 3-13. They've lost 11 straight. The score was tied until the 6th inning when the Eagles scored a pair of runs. For Claflin, Devin Whitehead was 3 for 4 with a double and an RBI. That's it on the score front for Tuesday. Let's take a look at the schedule for Wednesday as to what's going on in the state. Forest Darlington Tech is at Brunswick Community College at 2 o'clock. Brunswick, of course, is coached by former Clemson player Robbie Allen and is ranked nationally in Division II of the NJCAA. USC Sumter is at Southeastern Community College at 2. USC Aiken is at UNC Pembroke for another game. USC Lancaster is at Francis Marion Junior Varsity for a doubleheader at 4. Southern Wesleyan JV plays at Emmanuel for a doubleheader at 5. Georgia Southern is at the Citadel at 6. Michigan State and Clemson play at Ford Field in Greenville at 6 o'clock. And Charleston Southern is at South Carolina at 6:30. That's the scores and the schedules for Tuesday and the schedule for Wednesday, of course. And that's about it. Always follow me at PalmettoStateBaseball.com, X account of Palmetto Base. There's a Facebook page, the Palmetto State Baseball Group on Facebook. Email me, RudyJones at PalmettoStateBaseball.com if you'd like to send me some courage of some things I'm not doing or think I can do something better. Let me know what you think I need to improve on. Again, I hope you have a great night. Just remember, Jesus loves you. Good night.